If you're tired of the standard business and marketing fundamentals, frameworks, and funnels, you need a little mischief. Get ready to turn up the volume on the CEO Mischief Maker podcast, where you access conversations with seasoned business owners who have smashed through mindset barriers, innovated the standard boring business and marketing playbooks, and executed future-paced strategies with bleeding-edge tools and tactics to micro-fail their way into massive success and growth. We are Mindset Impact Strategic Catalysts helping innovative entrepreneurs focus. We are CEO Mischief Makers. Ready to make a little mischief?
Hello, CEO Mischief Makers. Welcome to the conversation. MKJ here. And I can't wait to chat with my guest, Josh Elledge. Josh, are you ready to rock on this thing and chat with me on this podcast?
MKJ, I am delighted to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
I can't wait. So Josh and I have known each other here and there and everywhere and in corners of different parts of marketing for several years now. And I just saw a post of his and went, I haven't talked to Josh in like forever. And I've got to chat with him and see what's going on. So Josh, start us off by just introducing who you are and what you do.
Yeah, sure. So, with a background as a journalist in the United States Navy for a number of years, that kind of led to my path of multiple businesses that I've started over the years. My last company did pretty well. Savings Angel, we became a six-figure a month company just simply because I went out and served audiences with noble intent, just giving value. And as a result, we created that company with zero paid ads. It was just all organic, all generosity, all just being a good person to good people out there. And that led to that. So that's kind of, in that work, I accidentally started another company. And of course, that's up my influence, of which I think I have my greatest notoriety for today. But it's essentially that same thing. It's leveraging platform. It's leveraging generosity. It's leveraging serving audiences in order to make all of our goals happen consistently and predictably. So most of my work, MKJ, is that of a chief revenue officer for B2B service providers, consultants, agency owners, coaches, as long as they've been around for a little bit of time, so they have some decent authority. And basically, my job is if they're doing account-based sales and they're relationship focused, I pretty much can keep them busy for the rest of their lives with sales introductions, as long as they are willing to lead in generosity, which we'll talk a little bit about here.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for that, because we are aligned completely on that topic. You give first and to good people, as you said, and it all comes back. You can call it whatever you like, karma. You can call it reciprocity. You can call it all kinds of things. But I believe 100% in that, and I believe that is how humans have been doing business forever. Whether the internet's here or not doesn't matter. So take us through. I mean, that's a pretty big shift from journalism in the Navy to marketing, and to a sounded like a SaaS product. Was that what you had with the Angel?
With Savings Angel, yeah. So Savings Angel.
What's that mindset? What was that mindset shift between getting out of there and going to that?
Yeah. So, what happened with Savings Angels is I really discovered, and again, this was a while ago, it was back in 2007, but I had discovered, I did a lot of research, and the problem that I wanted to figure out was I've heard of people that can cut their grocery bill in half. And I knew that they had figured something out. And this was long before extreme couponing. And so I read every book on the topic I could find. And I found out that there were two ways that any American could easily take an $900 grocery bill and cut it down to $300 to $400. And there's two ways you could do it. You can start to grow a lot of your own food and harvest and create a lot of your own food from home. You can raise chickens and that sort of thing. And you know what? It works. But it's a lot of work. It's a lot of sweat equity. So that wasn't realistic for me. I didn't necessarily at the time have a green thumb. I've certainly gotten one since then. But in reality, I had to look for other options. And so what I had found out was that you can save a ton of money if you just get a lot smarter around the timing of available discounts that you have open to you. Now, what I mean by that are sales, coupons, rebates, other incentives, right? And so that was Savings Angel's whole thing, is we would basically take all of that data and say, okay, grab this coupon, get as many copies of this coupon as possible. Wait. Okay, now go to Meijer. And so we would help people get boxes of Cheerios for 25 cents, these $5 box of Cheerios. Like, it was stuff like that. I would get free groceries every single week. Now, sadly, for someone who's been listening to me describe this, sorry, that business is no longer in business. I mean, it is, but it's pretty much just a blog at this point. We don't offer that service anymore. And since then, it's been great. But MKJ, back to like why that. How I got caught up in that was in my time in the Navy when I was in journalism school. And it was at Defense Information School, where all the public relations people and the journalists and the broadcast journalists go, the print journalists and so forth. I had the opportunity to learn from Adrian Kronauer. Now, Adrian Kronauer, you may or may not recognize that name, but that was Staff Sergeant Kronauer in the Vietnam War. Became the subject of the movie Good Morning Vietnam, played by Robin Williams. Yeah. And the whole story there is always, always, always be in integrity with your audience. Never lie. Sometimes that's going to put you in situations where you say, well, if I do a hardcore, and let me kind of transfer this now to maybe marketing and entrepreneurial, why does this matter to me? You can go on a stage and you can sell and you can have that masterful closing technique and you can use urgency and scarcity. And does that work? Stuff work? Yeah, sure. It works for some, some audiences. Some audiences it doesn't. And one audience that in particular does not work very well for are going to be sophisticated business owners, folks that have been around, folks that generally can have the ability to make bigger decisions. They're the decision makers within the company. They've seen it all before. Right. Yep. And so if you go down that road, you're just going to kind of be lumped into a broy, salesy kind of thing. And that's not really who we work with. The folks that we work with, MKJ, are going to be more like they're just very good at what they do. If they're a leadership consultant or a marketing consultant, a branding consultant or something like that, like they do really good work. They've been doing it for a while. They have very good reputation. They're the kind of people that if they were to walk into a room at, say, a VIP mixer at an event and just mill about and make relationships and chat it up, they would probably end up walking out of that room with a couple of people that they're probably going to do business with. Like, they're just very talented people. That's who we work with. Now, if you are one of those types of people, I've got such great news. You no longer need to compete in the red ocean of lead gen. It's inappropriate for you to do that because your authority is kind of all you need. You really just need to build more relationships with your ideal connections, and you'll probably end up doing a lot of business. Sorry, that was kind of a big answer. I ended up lumping a bunch of other stuff in there, MKJ.
Thank you, because it showed that transition. It showed where the connection was between those things. And that's really how... So you've been doing this now and leading with that intent and selling, if you want to call it selling, with that intent, building relationships. What's the next? Because I look at that as a mindset shift. You came out of the Navy, you're like, okay, what can I do? You start this company, you're trying to help people. Everything is about you trying to help people. I can see that clearly. Yeah. But then you switch to by influence, which is a different kind of company. So how did that mindset shift go from Savings Angel to what you're doing now? What was that shift?
Yeah, so both of these companies really, or I should say my go-to market for them, both came from the same way. So when I started Savings Angel, I had no money for ads. I'm just not a broy, salesy kind of person. I'm uncomfortable with that. Like, I don't enjoy that. I don't like feeling like I have to talk people into things or manipulate people or follow these closing scripts that just feel out of character. I don't like slamming people's DMs. Like, I don't like being, I'm going to date myself, Ron Popeil or the Sham Wow guy. Like, it just, that feels icky to me.
Yeah.
But yet, I want to still grow my business. So with Savings Angel, it was give more value and to as many people as possible. So my play was that I've been in the media more than 2,500 times on behalf of Savings Angel. And what do? I don't sell Savings Angel. I give lots of value away. And then people are like, oh, that guy's pretty smart. And yeah, some of them, not all of them. Some people are I do not care for that guy. And that's okay. Like I'm an acquired taste. I realize that. So either you resonate with that and you're going to come find me and that's great. Or it's just like, okay, next, who's talking now? Okay. So what's really interesting is that as Savings Angel was doing pretty well, like my job was pretty passive. Like I just had to show up for media stuff, continue to build the right relationships, obviously looking at our big partners and, deepening those relationships all the time. So I had some free time. And so I started serving in our local startup community here in Orlando. I'm originally from the Midwest, Michigan. But in Orlando, I started doing a lot of work with SBDC, military veteran-owned small business owners and founders, women-owned, minority-owned, just any opportunity where I could get on some boards, serve on workshops, all pro bono, 100% pro bono. Just, it's not an ask, it's a give. And what I found is this, Mary Kathryn, this same pattern is that when you show up and you're consistent about how you serve and the value you give, that you lead with noble intent, that initially it feels inefficient. But then you get to a point where you are not able to outgive the market. Now, a lot of early stage business owners might be a little afraid of doing what I'm talking about because they're like, I need sales today. I need money. I got bills to pay. I get you. I know what that's like, right? I've been there, done that many times over, right? And so how long do you want that to continue? I hope that we can break out of that rat wheel soon. And the path to do so is you just need more high value, high touch relationships. I'm not talking social media follows. Those aren't bad, but that's not what I'm referring to. I want you, my friend that's listening to us right now, to spend more time with fewer people, but higher quality people in terms of the potential of doing business together. I'm not talking about worth of a soul. I'm just saying, who are the kind of people you would put on your Dream 100? And those are the people you need to start earning time with through generosity. And we'll talk about how platform is such an effective way to do that.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Now you see, all right, Mischief Makers, you can hear and you can understand why Josh and I align so well, because this is exactly, I agree 100%, demand generation versus lead generation. And demand generation is not just generating demand, it's building relationships. It is giving, it is a slower process, and it's not a flip the switch. You're not in here and ads into a funnel, into a webinar, into a sale. You don't go directly from that to all of a sudden stopping that and just starting over and build relationships. You have to transition it because obviously you got to pay the bills. But I agree with you. It's just a hamster wheel. To just keep on that process. It's not going to lead you anywhere, and pretty soon it's going to dry up pretty heavily because the native digitals coming up underneath. They can smell a funnel. They can smell an ad. They can smell that a mile away. It's ubiquitous to them. They were raised with this, so they can see it. So if you don't build relationships, you're going to be in trouble in the long run.
Yeah. And I think there's something to be said for how much noise do you want to be in the midst of right now? Because right now, this is what we know from Harvard Business School, is they said 90% of top-level B2B decision makers never respond to cold outreach or unsolicited sales calls. So right off the bat, you are competing with every lazy marketer on the planet for that 10%. And I'm not just talking about marketers. You're competing with super cheap labor and now AI at a pace we have never seen before. So listen, case in point, how much time do you devote to paying attention to spammers today? And I'm talking directly to you. How do you like being sold at? For most decision makers I know, they have layers of insulation to protect themselves. They don't respond to the spammy sales texts, calls, emails, DMs, and ads. They're too busy, right? Now, again, I think that probably can work. It's not my area of expertise. If you're trying to market at baby brand new entrepreneurs, I don't know. I don't know. That's certainly out of my zone of genius, but I do know that if you want to work with sophisticated decision makers, you're going to have to do something a little bit different, and it ain't going to be coming right out of the holster with bam, 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 do I have an offer for you? Let's grab a discovery call or watch my free white paper.
Sorry, that's perfect. Yes, I agree 100%. So now, all right, we could belabor this topic. We could talk on it for a long time. What's the next mindset shift for Josh? What's going on? What are you looking forward to? And who do you need to become? What mindset shift do you need to make to get to that level, that different thing, that different whatever? What is that?
Okay, so the biggest transformation, this is a little self-serving. I'm going to talk about myself here for a second since you asked. And I hope that, again, this is helpful for other people that think about their own roadmap. There's only so much good I can do in the world. I'm limited. I'm one person. I don't like working 80 hours a week. I'm not going to do that. I love to be quite deliberate with my time. And so one of our core values is democratization at Up My Influence. I believe in open sourcing. I believe in crowdsourcing. I believe in sharing and spreading the wealth. I believe that a rising tide lifts all boats, right? And so one thing that we've been working on, we at Up My Influence, we have worked with getting close to 250, just over the past 5 years, big ticket clients, VIP level clients. And again, I step in as that chief revenue officer. We could talk a little bit more about this later, but how we leverage platform, specifically the platform of podcasts, in order to build meaningful high-level relationships for business development. Okay, so when we're working on our own account-based sales, we're somewhat limited on impact, right? It's just all roads kind of need to come through Josh or Josh's sales team. So that is one path to being able to help the world. My empathy extends to the business owners that are frustrated, MKJ. They just want to do what they do. They love doing what they do. They love branding. They love copy and content and marketing and or other professional services, leadership, mindset coaching, health and wellness. Like that's what they're passionate about. But then someone said to them, in order for you to do what you really love, you're going to have to do a lot of this icky sales and marketing stuff. And you're going to have to do stuff that falls outside of your values or your comfort zone. I don't believe it. I think that is bad advice. It sounds good because it makes it sound like, you could just do this yucky thing and then you can automate it and then you don't have to do the yucky thing. Sales is not yucky, right? So if we think about it from a perspective where we put a lot of pressure on ourselves and to try to convince other people and manipulate them into buying, yeah, it's a lot of work. And I can see why people wouldn't enjoy that. But if you think of it from a let's say, think of the best event that you've ever been to and you've mingled. I'm going to close the loop here on Josh in just a second, just in case you're wondering here. But let's say, again, you walk into a room and the pressure's off. Like no one's thinking about sales. Like everyone's just relaxed. Maybe they have a drink, maybe they have coffee or water, whatever. They're just milling about, hanging out. Hey, what brings you here? Tell me about what you do, blah, 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 blah. And I think we've all had that magical moment where you get to talking with someone, you're like, you start to look at them like, I wonder if there's something we should be doing together. Like it's that type of energy. That is how the big leaders do business. It's organic. It's authentic. It feels happenstance, or it feels like the universe or God's kind of brought these two people together. That is how the majority of high-level decision makers like doing business, or getting a word of mouth or something like that. Not anything that is forced. So, Mary Kathryn, part of my vision is to keep more B2B solutions providers and business owners in business so that they don't have to do the yucky stuff, which just burns us out. It's hard to do stuff outside of your values if you don't enjoy it and do that day after day after day. You deserve to build a huge network of friends. In fact, listen, if you can get to a point where you've got 200-300 high-level friends, and I mean like a legit friendship, like where it's not just social media high-fiving each other, whatever, but like legitimately people who really are looking out for you. They believe in you, and you believe in them, and you send business back and forth, and you do good stuff together, and you create this 1 + 1 = 11 dynamic week after week after week after week. It's game, set, match. And so, MKJ, that is my goal, is to create that whisper network with all of these great business owners that just want to do what they love. So what does that mean? We're going to have to spread the wealth. So right now, one thing that we're working on is a true kind of, e-myth next step in the process. And, we'll be licensing what we do, because I can't reach the whole world on my own, or at least if I do, I don't know that that's necessarily a path that I want. I would like I said, much rather kind of part and parcel to my own personality. I'd much rather shine the spotlight on other people. I'm happy to do my part, happy to serve, but I don't know that I necessarily want to be the next Tony Robbins. I'd rather be the guy that creates a bunch of Tony Robbins, if you know what I mean, right? So yeah, that's kind of my energy.
Okay, hold on. If your mindset was shifted, you were inspired to innovate, and you were spurred into action, don't just move on with your day. Focus, my friend, and take a few minutes to visit CEOmischiefmaker.com to learn more about the value that was shared with you today. Please act now and create some CEO mischief of your own.